Hi, my name is Tomasz and you're watching Casual DIY channel. In today's video, I want to show you one example where you can use a 3D printer for a woodworking workshop. Check out the video. In my workshop, I've got a workbench with some holes in it. It's an MFT style tabletop. So I've got 20mm holes across the whole surface of my tabletop. The holes come in handy thanks to the accessories you can actually install in those holes. So for example, the most basic thing you can put in your hole is a dog, just like this one, okay? So you can whack it in the hole of your workbench just like so, and then you've got a stop on top of your workbench where you can put something against it and it's not going to move on you, okay? Now the biggest problem, for me at least, is how expensive these accessories are, and to actually print one of those it will cost you absolutely pennies. Obviously you need equipment to make it, okay? So this Ender 3 Pro 3D printer is probably about 200 British pounds. However, over time what you can add with this tool to your workshop, I think it's actually a good and worth investment here, guys. Now I was playing around with different types of sizes and setups for all these dogs I've got, so let's have a close-up and I'll talk you through what I've got so far. Okay, so the first design I want to show you is this one. It's a normal size dog. It's 3 centimeters long here, 1 centimeter thickness of the top, plus you've got this addition at the top of the dog itself, okay? So what's that for? Basically just to lift the dog itself quickly and easily, okay? Now I've actually done a hole inside as well, just to save some the filament on the whole structure, so it prints faster as well. And it's ever so hard, you know, it's not flexing it, you know, just using normal PLA for this. It's a simple dog. You can put it in your workbench and then you can place a piece of you know, any material you've got. So that's the first one I wanted to show you. This is the next dog I want to show you. This time that's 2 centimeters long and that's more than enough. However, the top over here, that's only 5mm. Again, it's nice, sturdy, it's not flexing, anything like that. Now, why 5mm? And you know, sometimes you are, for example, you want to sand something that's very thin, and you know, that would just be riding around your workbench. And or for example, if you're routing as well, okay, you don't want to have anything sticking above the level of your workpiece if you've got something really thin. So that's a solution to that, okay? Now, obviously, you cannot have that handle on top of it because that will defeat the object. So it is a little bit harder to pull it out as there's not too much material on top, but it's still not too bad, okay? So that's an option if you want to have a dog with a really thin top. Next is just a box standard dog, okay? 2 centimeter leg and the top is 1 centimeter in thickness. So that's your general purpose dog that you can print out and use it daily for any project. Next, I've got this one, again 2 centimeter leg. The top is again 5mm, so if you want to use it for some thin materials, okay? But as you can see, it's got a flat front on both sides. So, you know, sometimes if you want to make a, for example, like a fence or something like that, so that could come in quite handy in many situations. Now I've got another version of this one. However, the top is 1 centimeter thick, so it's just a thicker version of the one I just showed you. Next one is just another fairly basic dog, really. 2 centimeter leg, but the top is I think it's 3 centimeters. Let me just double check that. Yeah, the top is 3 centimeters and it has only got 5mm overhang here. So this dog, sometimes if you need you know, support on a higher workpiece, so that will be absolutely perfect. In this case it's 3 centimeters, but you know, with a 3D printer you can design whatever you want and it can be a lot taller. Next, I've got 2 examples here. They may look very similar, but they are actually a little bit different. Okay, so again, 2 centimeter leg. and as you can see, it's got a one cut straight edge just over here, and the rest is just round. So you can use that in many scenarios. It has got that 5mm top over here, guys, so you could use it for those really thin pieces, or so it's basically not in the way of your work. Now this one underneath here, as you can see, I've cut out a bit, so it's got this ledge. So what that does, as you place your dog, because it's only 5mm, so it could be quite hard to pull it out, you've got that ledge underneath there, and you can just grab it underneath, and it's just a little bit easier to pull the dog out. And the same principle is in these, okay? So again, you've got one flat surface on the front, the rest is round. In this case, normal size of the head, 1 centimeter thickness, just round here. However, this one has got the ledge, so it's a little bit easier to pull it out. You just put your finger underneath, okay, just like so. Sometimes if you've got things like that, the triangles for supporting your workpiece when you're trying to paint it, what happens is, they can stick from underneath to your workpiece, or they can just move along. If you put them in your workbench, they're not gonna move, they're gonna stay in place. However, in this case, I need to refine the design, as at the moment it's absolutely pants, as they're so hard to actually take out of the workbench, as you've got this slope here and there's nothing to grab onto. So yeah, that's one of the designs I wanted to show you that didn't work out, and I think it's actually worth experimenting to see what works and what doesn't. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you are these. Okay, so you got a hole in the middle, just like that. You got a flat surface here, flat surface there, and they are quite tall. Although I do have versions that are just shorter. Okay, so I think that's 3 centimeters, and the shorter ones are 2 centimeters. Okay, so what would you use that for? With some hardware. Okay, so I've got some bolts, washers, and a wing nut. Plus, I've got a aluminium profile, okay, just like this one, where you've got the T-slots on the edges, on the top, so all around basically. And quite easily, with these, you can transfer this aluminium profile into a fence, a nice and sturdy fence on your workbench, okay? So let's do that now. I've got some bolts, as I said. The head of the bolt will go into the profile, just like that. I'm adding a washer on top, wing nut, just like so. Put it in your workbench, tighten the wing nuts, just like that, and you've got a proper fence on your workbench that you can use for whatever purposes. Plus, you still got T-track at the top, so you can make some stops at the top, so you can put that against it and make some cuts. Or for example, if you've got a track or anything like that, you can utilize that for repetitive cuts. Okay, so it just makes sense to have that. Quite a cool addition. Now, the purpose of this video is not to take business out of hands from the companies that make these professionally. Not at all. I just want to show you guys that there is a DIY cheaper alternative to those, that if you can't afford the original ones, the metal high precision ones, you actually can get something that maybe you'll be able to afford. And nowadays it's even harder. The times are very difficult, and a lot of us are struggling for cash at the moment. So this could be an option for you. Now, all these designs, the G-code for 3D printers, that will be on my Patreon account. However, you don't have to be my patron, you don't have to support me. They will be visible to all, and you can download the G-code for all of these absolutely for free. Just pick one you want and you can print it off on your 3D printer. And nowadays, even if you don't have a 3D printer, there are many websites that offer these services and you can actually get those printed for not a lot of money. So it's up to you guys. If you want to give it a go, see how they are, if they work for you, by all means go and download the codes I've got for you. However, if you do have the cash, or if you are professional, I do encourage you to check out the links I've got for you down below in the description of this video to, you know, companies that do this professionally, and you will have a very, very high quality kit there. I just want to show you that you've got options. If you've got money, or if, you know, you're struggling for cash, there are options there for you. And at this moment, I'm just experimenting with the whole setup, and it just amazes me what can be achieved. I'm a total beginner when it comes to 3D printing, but already I've printed things that I will definitely use in my workshop, and it costed me absolutely pennies, and that's what matters to me at this point. Don't get me wrong, I do have some quality dogs as well, but I don't have too many of them because I just can't afford them, and this is a good alternative for me. As I said, you know, if you want to learn about 3D printing, is 3D printing absolutely new to you like it is to me, I've got some videos on it, and there should be some links coming up just over here, so go and have a look at those videos. I'm going to have some links down below in the description of this video as well, so you can check out my progress with 3D printing. So yeah, check those videos out and I'll see you there. Take care.